Chapter 10, Light Reflection and Refraction, Class 10th, presented by Fatima Convent High School, E-Physics class, myself, Dipali. We understood what is light and the properties or characteristics of light waves. Now let us understand the phenomena and the property of light related to reflection of light. A highly polished surface, such as a mirror, reflects most of the light falling on it. You are already familiar with the laws of reflection. So, what is reflection? Reflection is a phenomena of returning of the light from the surface of an object when the light incident on it is reflection of light. Now, there are two types of reflection, the regular reflection and irregular reflection. The regular reflection occurs when a parallel beam of light is incident on a shining plane or smooth surface and a beam remains parallel after reflection in a specific direction. Such reflection of light is called regular reflection. The light reflection of mirror is an example of regular reflection, whereas irregular reflection is when a parallel beam of light is incident on the surface or irregular rough surface. The beam does not remain parallel but spreads over wide region after reflection. Such a reflection of light is known as irregular reflection. The object around us, such as book, chair, table, etc., can be seen as a result of irregular reflection. So, these are the two kinds of reflection. Now, let us understand what is law of reflection. But before that, we need to understand few important terms related to it. The angle of incidence and angle of reflection. What is angle of incidence? As seen in the figure, the ray, incident ray and the reflected ray are meeting at a point. This point is called as point of incidence and this is reflected ray. Now the imaginary line which is perpendicular to the surface is called as normal. And the angle formed between the incident ray and the normal is called as angle of incidence, which is represented by theta I. And the angle formed between the normal and the reflected ray is called as angle of reflection, which is represented by theta r. Now let us understand what is law of reflection. The law of reflection is the angle of incidence is equal to angle of reflection, which can symbolically be written as theta I is equal to theta r. And the incident ray, the normal to the mirror at the point of incidence and the reflected ray all lie in the same plane. This is called law of reflection. Now these laws of reflection are applicable to all types of reflecting surfaces including spherical surfaces. You are familiar with the formation of image by a plane mirror. What are the properties of the image? Image formed by a plane mirror is always virtual and erect. The size of the image is equal to that of the object and the image formed is far behind the mirror as the object is in front of it. Further, the image is laterally inverted. How would the image be when the reflected surface are curved? Let us explore. So first let us understand what is different characteristics of image and what is image. Now what is an image? A visual perception of an object formed due to the meeting of all reflected or refracted ray of light is called as image. Now the image can have following characteristics. Image can be real or virtual. The image which is formed by the actual meeting of the rays is called as real image. And the image which is formed by virtual meeting, or you feel the rays are meeting but they are not actually meeting at one point, is called as virtual image. The real image can be taken on the screen, whereas virtual image cannot be taken on the screen. Also, we need to know the size of image. The size of image could be same size as the object, enlarged, that is larger than the object, diminished or smaller than the object, and highly diminished, that is very small compared to the object. The position of image also is to be taken into consideration. And we have inverted image and erect image. The inverted image means the upside down image of the object, and erect image means the same way as the object is called as erect image. So, if we take an example of a candle, if we observe the candle to be standing straight, this is the object which is the candle. If we observe this candle with the wick downwards, it is called as inverted image. And if we observe the candle just as the object is, it is called as erect image. This is how we characterize any image. And the image formed by the plane mirror has following characteristics. The image formed is virtual and erect, same distance from the object, same size of the object, laterally inverted, that is left is seen right and right is seen left, and is behind the mirror. This is the characteristic of image formed by the plane mirror. But what about spherical or curved mirror? And what are they called? Take a large shining spoon, try to view your face in its curved surface. Do you get the image? Is it smaller or larger? Move the spoon slowly away from your face. Observe the image. How does it change? Reverse the spoon and repeat the activity. How does the image look like now? Compare the characteristic of image on the two surfaces. The curved surface of a shining spoon could be considered as a curved mirror. The most commonly used type of curved mirror is the spherical mirror. The reflected surface of such mirror can be considered to form a part of a surface of a sphere. Such mirrors whose reflecting surface is spherical are called as spherical mirrors. So, the mirror which is formed from a sphere is called as spherical mirror. Now, there are two kinds of spherical mirror. The reflecting surface of a spherical mirror may be curved inwards or outwards. A spherical mirror whose reflecting surface is curved inwards, that is, faces out towards the center of the sphere, is called as concave mirror, as shown in the figure. The spherical mirror whose reflecting surface is curved outwards is called as convex mirror. The schematic diagram of the mirror is shown here, the concave mirror and the convex mirror. Now you may now understand that the surface of the spoon curved inwards can be approximated to be a concave mirror, and the surface of spoon bulged outwards can be approximated as a convex mirror. Now, before studying about more in detail about spherical mirrors, we need to understand certain terms related to it. What are those terms? We need to recognize and understand the meaning of a few terms. These terms are commonly used in discussion about spherical mirror. The center of the spherical reflecting surface of the spherical mirror is a point called the pole. So, if you take the figure here and if you try to observe this figure, this is called the pole. Which is represented by P. Next is, if we try to, where does this pole lie? It lies on the surface of the mirror. The pole is usually represented by letter P. The reflecting surface of the mirror forms a part of a sphere. This sphere has a center, and this point is called the center of curvature of the spherical mirror. It is represented by C. Please note that the center of curvature is not the part of mirror and it lies outside the reflecting surface. The center of curvature of a concave mirror lies in front of it. However, it lies behind the mirror in case of convex mirror. You may note that in figure 10.2 A and B, the radius of the sphere of which the reflecting surface of a spherical mirror forms a part is the radius of curvature of the mirror. It is represented by letter R. You may note that the distance PC is equal to the radius of curvature. So, if we go back again to the diagram, we'll be easily able to say that if this is the circle or the sphere and this is the center of the circle whose part is this mirror, then C is the center of curvature and the distance from C to pole P is called as a radius of curvature. Imagine a straight line passing through the pole and the center of curvature of the spherical mirror. This line is called the principal axis. Remember that principal axis is normal to the mirror as its pole. Thus, you let us understand an important term related to mirror through activity. Do not look at the sun directly or even into a mirror reflecting sunlight. That may damage your eyes. Hold the concave mirror in your hand and direct its reflecting surface towards the sun. Direct the light reflected by the mirror on a sheet of paper held close to the mirror. Move the sheet of paper back and forth gradually until you find on the paper sheet a bright sharp spot of light. Hold the mirror and the paper in the same position for a few minutes. What do you observe? Why? The paper at first begins to burn, producing smoke. Eventually, it may even catch fire. Why does this happen? The light from the sun is converged at a point as a sharp, bright spot of the mirror. In fact, this spot of light is the image of the sun on the sheet of paper. This point is the focus of concave mirror. The heat produced due to the concentration of the sunlight ignites the paper. The distance of this image forms the position of the mirror, gives the approximate value of focal length of the mirror. Let us try to understand this observation with the help of a ray diagram. So you may observe in the diagram A and in diagram B, the point where all the Rays after reflection meet either in the concave or a convex lens is called as focus. The distance of this image from the position of the mirror gives the approximate value of the focal length of the mirror. Let us try to understand this observation with the help of diagram. A number of rays parallel to the principal axis are falling on a concave mirror. Observe the reflected ray. They are all meeting or intersecting at a point on the principal axis of the mirror. This point is called as the principal focus of the concave mirror. Similarly, observe how are the rays parallel to the principal axis reflected by a convex mirror. The reflected rays appear to come from a point on the principal axis. This point is called the principal focus of the convex mirror. The principal focus is represented by the letter F. The distance between the pole and the principal focus of the spherical mirror is called focal length and is represented by letter F. The reflecting surface of the spherical mirror is by and large spherical. The surface then has a circular outline. The diameter of the reflecting surface of a spherical mirror is called the aperture. The distance mn represents the aperture. We shall consider it our discussion only such spherical mirrors whose aperture is much smaller than its radius of curvature. So you can see in the diagram here that the point C represents center of curvature, point P represents the pole, and point F is represented here, which is called the focus. These are the incident ray and these are the reflected ray. The distance from say point M to point N here is called the aperture. And the length between F and P is called as the focal length. So these are the terminologies which you should be very clear with before studying the other parts of the chapter. Is there a relation between the radius of curvature r and focal length f of the spherical mirror? For spherical mirrors of small aperture, the radius of curvature is found to be equal to twice the focal length, so we can put that r is equal to 2f. This implies that the principal focus of the spherical mirror lies midway between the pole and the center of curvature. I suppose this part is very clear because it will help you to understand the next topic, image formation by spherical mirror. Thank you.